Hey guys, what is up? It is the Fast Break Report here, bringing you guys another vlog. Been kind of quiet the past couple of days. I haven't really had much to talk about, but Sporting Logically and the Flight Mic both uploaded their own Jimmy Butler videos, and I kind of wanted to talk about some of the things that are out there about Jimmy Butler and what I believe, what I don't believe. Mostly because it's mostly going to do with the Flight Mic video, the points I'm going to be addressing, because there are things that he has talked about. And I understand, I don't want to call Mike wrong in this video. That's not why I'm here, because I actually watch Mike's videos a lot, actually. He's like one of the few YouTubers I watch. Even though there's certain aspects of him that I don't like, I think his content is pretty good. But there's a lot of things being said about Jimmy Butler right now that I kind of want to address with my own take, because I don't believe all of them, to be honest with you. I really don't. Sometimes we get news about specific NBA players where it feels, you know what they say, how like if something feels too good to be true, then it probably is. That's how I feel about all the Jimmy Butler news right now. And the first is there's certain things I think are true, certain things that I don't think are true. I guess I'll address the thing that I feel is true because it makes a lot of sense. The Golden State Warriors are interested in trading for Jimmy Butler, which makes sense. They've been rumored in pretty much every single trade this offseason. If somebody is available, they were rumored to be in the they were rumored to be in the Lauri Markkanen sweepstakes. They're a team that they were rumored to be in the Zach LaVine thing. So they're a team that is actively looking to make trades. They're a team that is actively trying to get rid of guys like Gary Payton II. It looks like they're also openly trying to get rid of Andrew Wiggins. They are packaging a not them, but the Chicago Bulls were packaging a first-round pick with Zach LaVine to get him out of Chicago, and teams still wouldn't take it, mostly because Zach LaVine's contract is fucking terrible for the type of player that he is. So I do believe that. I do believe that the Golden State Warriors are very interested in obtaining a player like Jimmy Butler, because that would, I don't know if it would put them over the top, but it would definitely make them like pretty much a bona fide playoff team again, even though they're like a bona fide play-in team at this point. Arguably a bona fide end of bottom half of the seeding playoff team. But adding Jimmy Butler would bring a defensive presence to that team that it desperately needs, and a second scoring option outside of Stephen Curry that they now also desperately need now that Klay Thompson is gone and now plays for the Dallas Mavericks. Packaging him with, having a team that consists of Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green is interesting enough to maybe put you back in the championship conversation. I don't think it makes them bona fide contenders by any means, but because there's still some holes on that roster that I think need to be worked out. But you still have Jonathan Kuminga, you still have Moses Moody, you still have Brandon Podziemski. So they still have some nice bench pieces as well. That acquiring Jimmy Butler would be nice. However, I don't think you would be able to acquire Jimmy Butler without giving up one of Kuminga or Brandon Podziemski. I just don't think that's possible, along with Andrew Wiggins to make the money work. So that's one thing. However, the other parts of this that I don't think are true are that Jimmy Butler has interest in going to the Brooklyn Nets because of Ben Simmons, or apparently Ben Simmons and Jimmy Butler have the same agent, and apparently the agent really likes the way that the Nets have handled the Ben Simmons situation. Even though, here's the other thing. Okay, I understand that they both have the same agent, and the agent likes the way that the Brooklyn Nets have handled the Ben Simmons situation. However, they haven't really had a choice. That's the other part of this that I'd like to address, is the idea that Brooklyn hasn't really had a choice other than to just hang on to Ben Simmons because nobody else in the fucking league wants Ben Simmons. Yeah, once his contract is over and he's not getting paid an astronomical amount of money to be, a fucking bench ornament, yeah, maybe a team will want him at some point or will be willing to give him like a vet minimum contract just to try him out. But I don't believe that Jimmy Butler has any interest in going to the Brooklyn Nets. Why would he, right? From what we know about Jimmy Butler is a competitor. Jimmy Butler wants to win, but he also doesn't want to go to a team that is, already stacked or already loaded. You know what I'm saying? Where the deck is already stacked for him. He's just the missing piece, We know that much about Jimmy Butler. So wanting to go to Brooklyn doesn't really make any sense to me, being that Jimmy Butler is 35, 36 years old, and Brooklyn is clearly rebuilding. Once they got rid of Mikal Bridges, it was pretty blatantly obvious that this is a team that is rebuilding, especially with the amount of draft picks that they acquired to get rid of Mikal Bridges. So that's the other part of this that I don't understand. Yeah, they're going to have a lot of cap space. They're going to have anywhere from $50, potentially $70 million going into this upcoming offseason. However, if you're Jimmy Butler and you really want to win a ring, and it seems as if he does, I just don't see how he goes to Brooklyn. I just don't. I think he can go to another team and maybe get a better chance at winning. The Indiana Pacers are one team that is one solid wing away from winning an NBA championship. They have Tyrese Halliburton. They have Pascal Siakam. They have the best bench unit in the NBA. Adding, Jimmy Butler to that, having Ben Mathurin as a sixth man, or even as a starter. You have Aaron Nesmith. You have TJ McConnell. You have Obi Toppin, right? You have James Wiseman. You still have Miles Turner. So that's the other part of this that I'm just it would make more sense for Jimmy Butler to go to a team like, I don't know, the Memphis Grizzlies, or go to a team like the Indiana Pacers. You know what I'm saying? There's just so many other options out there that, for me, the Brooklyn Nets, you know what I'm saying? The only reason he would go to the Brooklyn Nets is if he really, really, really desperately values money over winning. And I don't necessarily think Jimmy Butler's that type of dude. Now, Mike did say in his video that Jimmy Butler was selling, $20 coffees during the NBA bubble back in 2020 in order to, put more pocket change in his pocket. I simply don't believe that. I simply don't. In case you don't know, Jimmy Butler is a big coffee connoisseur and, wanted to start his own business and make his own coffee company. There are a lot of people out there who start businesses not because they want to make money, but because it's something they have a passion for. And Jimmy Butler is a guy who's very passionate about coffee, okay? He's the type of guy that's okay, none of these companies are making exactly what I want, so I'm going to do it myself. That's kind of where I find it hard to believe that a guy that is, got career earnings over $100 million is hurting for pocket change. I'm sorry, I refuse to believe that. I understand that there's a lot of athletes who spend their money recklessly, but Jimmy Butler doesn't strike me as that type of player. I'm sorry, Jimmy Butler to me seems a lot smarter than that. So I don't necessarily believe the idea that he's looking for the most amount of money because he's broke. And to me, with the Flight Mike video, that's kind of what I felt like that insinuated, is the idea that, Jimmy Butler needs the money. No, Jimmy Butler is the best player on the Miami Heat, and he wants to be paid like the best player on the Miami Heat. And it's understandable when you look at guys like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum getting paid $300 million. If you're Jimmy Butler and your team is, make or break without you on the floor, then yeah, you're going to want to get paid. Maybe not $300 million level paid, but I understand. You know what I'm saying? If I were the best player on a team and they wanted to kind of lowball me, then I would be upset too. Now, I understand Jimmy Butler does have injury concerns, and Jimmy Butler is a guy who, only plays, I don't know when the last time he played 70 games is, but Jimmy Butler is a guy who plays about 50, 60 games a year. If you look in the past, to be fair, since 2018, 2019, Jimmy Butler has played 50 games or more. He's never played more than 65, but he's still, a relatively solid player. Another thing that has to be taken, actually, Jimmy Butler's 34. He's going to be 35. But still, being 34, going on 35, 36, you could understand why a team might not want to pay him a max level contract. You know what I'm saying? However, if you're Miami, another thing here is the idea that Miami does need to start looking for another star. That's the other piece of this puzzle that I want to address. Jimmy Butler is a guy that I don't know if he's worth the type of money he's asking for. I will admit that. Jimmy Butler's a phenomenal basketball player. Do I think he's worth a max contract, though? Yes. Do I think he's worth a super max contract? No. You know what I'm saying? He's a guy that I could see getting paid like $110 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, I actually, $50 million a year is maybe a lot for Jimmy Butler. I would say, I don't know, man, because Paul George just got paid an ass ton of money as well. So that, the asking price on Jimmy Butler is really kind of like, I don't know where it's at, but I would pay $35-40 million a year for Jimmy Butler. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's that good of a basketball player. Even if he only plays, 50 to 60 games a year, and, even if he plays less than 65 games, but it's more than 50, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that is worth holding on to. But if you're Miami, you're looking at your current situation, and you're going, yes, like, we have a good team. It's not enough. Do we really want to, I guess you could say, put ourselves in salary cap space hell for a guy who's probably not going to be here in the next 2 or 3 years, or is probably, who knows, could be a shell of his former self in the next couple of years. So I understand why Miami might not want to work out a long-term deal. Now, do I think Jimmy Butler will get traded? That's the situation here as well. I think not immediately. I'm just going to be honest. I think Jimmy Butler plays out this upcoming year with the Miami Heat. I don't think he gets traded at the trade deadline. I just don't see that happening. It depends. You know what I'm saying? It depends on where they are with contract talks. If Jimmy Butler's playing out of his fucking mind come the NBA trade deadline or the contract deadline, then yeah, I think the Miami Heat will re-sign Jimmy Butler. But if the Miami Heat are, a middle-of-the-pack Eastern Conference team still, and Jimmy Butler is not Jimmy Butler of old, then I feel like the Miami Heat will try to move on from him. That's where I'm at. If it's not during the NBA trade deadline, it will more than definitely be this upcoming offseason that they move off of him. But I just think some of the rumors out there that, like, he wants to play in Brooklyn and that, he's selling $20 coffees because he's broke, I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case at all. I understand people got to make money out here doing this. However, to insinuate that Jimmy Butler's broke, I don't believe that. He doesn't strike me as that type. I think he's a little bit more educated than a lot of the other, stars I've seen in the NBA. So I don't believe that. But I will say this, the future for Jimmy Butler in Miami is very uncertain. It's one of those things that I just don't think anybody can really call at the moment. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't think anybody knows if Jimmy Butler's going to get traded or not. It is certainly looking like he's going to get traded. But the idea that, he's going to, get traded for nothing, or, he's going to leave and go to some horrible ass team for money. I understand in the end of players' NBA careers, they do tend to look for more money, but I don't think that's Jimmy Butler's situation at all. I don't. So I think Jimmy Butler wants to win. If he does want to win, like I said, the Memphis Grizzlies, the Indiana Pacers, what's another team? The Golden State Warriors, it makes a little bit of sense. Not a whole lot of sense, but I understand where it comes from, only because in that particular situation, it seems like, one step forward and 2 steps back. OKC is another team that I feel makes a lot of sense. I know they have Jalen Williams, they have SGA, they have Alex Caruso, Chet Holmgren. Adding Jimmy Butler to what they have could, I think, put them over the top as well. In the East, there's not really, even Orlando, like, if you add Jimmy Butler to Orlando, I don't think it makes them a championship contender. there's not a lot of teams in the East that I think you put Jimmy Butler on and it puts them in the championship conversation. Indiana's probably the only one. And in the West, you got Memphis. Dallas is a team that would be cool, but the problem is Dallas, I don't think, is in any position to really trade for Jimmy Butler. They're having Luka Doncic, Jimmy Butler, and Klay Thompson all on the same team, I think would actually hurt that team more than it would help it. It just at that point you got too many mouths to feed. The Lakers are a team that would make a lot of sense as well. So there's a couple teams in the West that I could see making sense. The Lakers, you have Memphis, you have Golden State. The Clippers, no. Phoenix, no. Portland, no. Sacramento, no. They have DeMar DeRozan now. Even if I don't think DeMar DeRozan raises their ceiling a whole lot. They'll be a playoff team, but I don't think they're a team that's going to be winning a championship anytime soon. So that's my opinion on it. There's only a handful of teams I think could really trade for Jimmy Butler to begin with. But even the other teams that have been brought up, or some of the teams that have been brought up, I'm just like, why? Like, why would he even go there? I don't know. I don't know what Jimmy Butler values, money or winning. But at this point in his career, maybe he's like Paul George. Maybe Paul George is trying to win a ring with Philadelphia, but I don't think the way their bench unit is set up, I don't think Philadelphia has enough to win a championship. I just don't. You have Maxey, you have Paul George, you have Embiid. Yes, you will be a great regular season team, but just like the Denver Nuggets, which, once you start getting into the dog days of the playoffs, a bench unit matters, and the Denver Nuggets bench unit got worse. Okay, they lost Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and you look at a team also like the 76ers, and while Paul George went there for the money and a chance to win, it's one of those things where it's like, I think even Paul George knows that they don't have enough to win. Like, you have Kelly Oubre, you have Andre Drummond, but I don't think that's enough to get the job done. So, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I hope Jimmy Butler still values winning, more than money, because, I get it, at the end of their careers, these players want to get the bag, but it would be nice to see Jimmy Butler win a ring before he retires, and I think a team like Memphis or Indiana or even the Lakers could really actually provide him with that. Obviously, the Lakers couldn't provide him with money. I don't think Memphis could, or neither could Indiana. But if he really wants to win, those are the teams that I think he should look at. And Indiana really does need like a defensive wing. Just saying. And like a guy other than Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam that can go out there and get a bucket. Bench unit looks great too. I feel like Indiana is set up a lot like Miami in a way, like where it's like Indiana's just one piece away. Hopefully Benedict Mathurin becomes that, but it's kind of a mess at the moment. So tell me what you guys think about this down below in the comment section below. A like helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more on the Fast Break Report, and I'm out of this motherfucker. Peace, guys.